peace, y'all.
Peace, fam. Peace, people.
We hope that this finds you all doing well. We just went to see Captain Marvel, and I got a huge download. So I don't have notes and all of that. So I'm just finna shoot. But if you haven't seen Captain Marvel and you're the kind of person you're gonna be a little bitter about us telling you stuff, cut this off, go see the movie, and come back. Okay. Welcome to Remnantsgathering. If we did not say that, so the huge download that I got from this, and I'm gonna try to start from what seems to be the most important. Samuel L. Jackson has become a beacon to the underdogs on Earth. And he told it in the story as if this particular race of alien, they've always been oppressed. They've always been refugees. They've never had a home. They've always been scattered all around the galaxies. They've always had to try to find a home. They've always had to fight war. There were always more powerful galactic technologies and civilizations who was always able to keep their foot on their neck. And that is a very great picture of what we would call color people on Earth. I also believe that Samuel L. Jackson was trying to get in our minds, because a lot of us just have thick skulls, that more exists than meets the eye. And just because this is the only thing that you can perceive doesn't mean that this is it. There is a galactic war. It's been going on for probably ages and ages, right? And I don't think no one has a source specifically to tell you how long this galactic war has been happening. But we have to realize that because there's a whole universe, the kingdom of hell and the kingdom of heaven within our bodies, right? That our chakras, our whole energy system, a whole world. And for a lot of people, especially people who have been indoctrinated with religion, they can't even grasp their mind around that, even though the Bible tells them that the kingdom of heaven exists within you. You are the kingdom of heaven. A kingdom is huge, right? So he's trying to give us spiritual expansion in the form of a story. I also find it interesting that even in the movie Purge, everybody is kind of like, they told you a story and now it's like, okay, let's go back. And then we're going to tell you how it really started. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where a lot of us are on a conscious level, where we're trying to piece pieces together and figure out what are our origins. How did it all get started? What spirituality did we begin practicing after we were brought into slavery, being oppressed and taught this? And so that spoke very strongly to me throughout this. Another huge thing was her memory had been wiped. I guess, what's her name? Carol. Okay. But she was calling herself Fury, I think. No, Fierce. But her memory had been wiped. Something really traumatic had happened to her, and her memory was wiped. And what happened was the Tesseract, that technology that she used to build the core, the engine that could go light speed, it exploded because she shot it to try to protect what the lady was trying to do. And why she built it, and she told her to destroy it.
And her name was Marvel.
And that's a whole other thing right there that I'm not even getting to right now, because it's going to interfere with the message that you all need. However, her greatest moment were her failures throughout her life, especially throughout her childhood. Those were her greatest moments. When she wrecked the little go-kart car she was racing in and fell off her bike, and you just look at that as the things that we went through as young people. Those were our first greatest achievements because you got back up. Whether you broke your leg playing ball, you had a car accident, or all of us have experienced something on some level, even if it's not physical, it could be emotional, mental. But the fact that you're sitting here watching this video shows the marvel. You are the marvel. We are the marvel. Earth is something that other galaxies and other races of beings, they marvel at what happens here on Earth and humanity. And I'm sure every single day there's one thing that could go wrong and destroy the whole civilization on Earth as we know it, and somehow that doesn't happen. That is something to marvel. And it's because as a collective whole, the things that oppressed us and hurt us and broke us and tormented us and traumatized us, that those things weaken us until you start breaking down those experiences and figuring out, how can I make this my strength? How can I take this thing that still hurts, it still stings, I try not to think about, trying to deal with it, but how can I? And so what happened, she finally came out of the indoctrination that she had received from the civilization that took her in after this accident happened. And that she had powers, her hands had this power that would come out of it, like a photon light generator. And they told her the storyline, the script that they gave her, check what I'm saying. The script that they gave her was, we created this technology and we gave this to you to use for our agenda, for whatever our mission is. She was going along with it. Okay, they training her. Okay, wow. She even was going to talk to them, right? And all this was happening within her mind. And within her mind, she would close her eyes and go into a still space, and she could communicate with what they identified as source, right?
Right.
And source would say, you know, you got a mission, right? You got a higher intelligence, you got a mission, and blah, 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 blah. But it was all bullshit. And when she found out who she really was,
she unleashed all
she
the
became
fury.
limitless.
She took on Fury.
She took on Fury.
His name, yeah.
And she became her best self.
Yeah.
But the civilization and the people that took her in and had trained her were teaching her to believe that her best self only existed within the script that she had been given. That if you do anything outside of the script that you're given, you're not your best self. That's not being your best self. You must stay within the script that we're giving you and within the agenda and the missions that we're putting in front of you to be your best self. And finally, she remembered all of the bad things that happened, all of the accidents. And it came back to her memory that when she destroyed that technology, the power of that technology went inside of her.
And so she was limitless.
Our trauma, if you survive your trauma, and I'm going to get deeper into the survival part too, but if you survive anything traumatic that happened to you, then a power source was transferred into you. But because of pride and ego, it's encased in weakness, and only the people who are willing to diligently press themselves until they break through the thresholds, break through your limitations, break through your standards of yourself, break through the standards of what other people expect of you, break through the standards of what people expected of you because you were a prophet in the church, and oh my gosh, you're an oracle now, and you're talking about tarot cards and astrology. Oh my God, you're not your best self right now because you're not staying within the script you were given. Samuel Jackson is telling us that your best self exists outside of the script you were given. But only the courageous will face these things. Only the courageous will risk people who love them turning their back on them just so they can figure out who their best self is. And so once you break that threshold, there's the availability of the extension of source, which we all are, but the magnitude of that is amplified and it increases. And now little simple things that you do that just have this huge power radiate from it. And so in the movies, yes, they're gonna make it look all great and booms and the sounds and we're like, but it's really very simple. It's when the girl who was raped and molested, and she learns how to trust and love a man, though she was hurt at the hands of a man. When a woman can remember that traumatic experience as a girl, but she's still able to love a man. When a woman can do that, she has become her best self. She has become limitless. When a man can have a narcissistic mother who emasculated him, and he's forced into church and he's emasculated, and none of that really resonated with him, but I gotta get through this because I'm a kid, I gotta survive, and I can't be bucking the system against mom, right? And then that man is able to fall in love, take down his guard, and begin healing the twisted relationship that he had with the first feminine energy that he had a relationship with. You are reaching your best self. And these things seem like small things and they sound simple, but those of us who are on this journey, we know that they're not simple and they really do take commitment. Sometimes they take more commitment than we have to give. And all of this is so powerful because this is linked to a meditation I had earlier. And in that meditation, I was being told to become your best self. And I went into the meditation with questions. I was like, how? And they were like, begin taking down all of your thresholds. If you, and I'm gonna start with physical because it's the easiest for us to understand from where we are.
Right.
So if you can do 10 sit-ups, do 15. If you can play a couple of different instruments, learn to play a new one. Just starting off with some physical stuff. But spiritually, if you can control your thoughts for 5 minutes in meditation, okay, now try 6. Now try 7. We are in the time and the age right now where the thresholds that have been placed on humanity by outside forces manipulating outside of the light spectrum of what most people can see, we're being released from that veil. That veil is thinning. And so we are returning to the greatness we once were before all the programming and indoctrination. And so this message I want to give to you would be, what are your limitations? What are your standards? You might have some standards for yourself that's not really yours. When you start working on the dark night of the soul and inner child work, you start realizing that, man, I'm really hard on myself. Now, that don't mean to not be diligent and to not practice discipline, but there's a time for everything. And finding that harmony and that balance, we can do that now. I don't study astrology. I'm just an intuitive, but I'll tell you intuitively what I feel is by the sun, the moon have been in Libra, and the sun has been in Aries, which is the first signs, and both of them are cardinal signs. And so what I'm saying to you is the elements of the earth are set up for us right now to break limitations. Humanity as a whole is breaking limitations. I'm telling y'all, a time is going to come there won't be a threat of nuclear war. Like we are breaking limitations. So when you're working on yourself in your one small world that it seems, you're affecting the whole collective of humanity and the direction that we're going in. And this is a beautiful time to be living in. And I'm not going to make it seem like it's going to be an easy time to live in. But we can just practice mindfulness. For me, I hear the voice say, okay, you're hurting, but you've been talking a lot of big metaphysical shit in your video, so you ought to be able to push through this and get up and go do what you need to do. That might be a good idea one day, but one day it may not. That could be ego, and I might just need to rest.
Yep.
And so just practicing, figuring out what's me,
Right.
what's speaking that's me, and what is going to be for my greatest good and not bring harm to me. It's an everyday practice. It's an everyday practice. Ain't no way around that. And we have been spoiled. We have been overly comforted. I'm even finding myself practicing being uncomfortable in situations, being uncomfortable, maybe discomforts in my physical body, things I don't like to think about, and I'm finding myself making myself just stick it through. Stick it through. What about you?
Exactly. Yeah. That's what that's part of the conversation that we had today was dealing with what she just said about practicing being mindful. That's another whole subject and topic within itself, and so that's probably something that we're gonna have to talk about more and deal with as we're going through it. Share, but yeah, if that download right there, that light code was mind blowing. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It was.
Oh, that's right. And she went outside of Earth. Once she began figuring out who she was and what she could do, and once she got comfortable being authentic, she got comfortable not having to fit into this civilization and that civilization, and she just started figuring out what her path is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Once she got there, her power exceeded the people who the race that had been manipulating all of humanity and all the other races. Her power exceeded theirs, and they were like, we don't even have a weapon that can do that. They don't have a weapon that can defeat our weapon, our warheads, and she just did that. We're coming back for the weapon. He was like, for the Tesseract, and he was like, no, for the woman.
Yeah.
So I say to you, that's the return of the divine feminine. That is representation of the power of the divine feminine. And that's why we have existed in the patriarchy with a God that was masculine, and it's changing. One person at a time, people are waking up and it's changing. And this has nothing to do with gender wars. That's some 3D shit right there. It's not even about that. It's about energy. And all of us have masculine and feminine energy. But embracing the feminine energy, harnessing, learning to harness, that's what she was doing. She was learning to harness.
Exactly.
She was learning to harness her emotions. Because they kept saying to her, your emotions get the best of you.
She's too emotional.
But,
she would be greater at this or that, but
yeah,
because she couldn't control her emotions, that was the issue.
And so this is a time for us to practice that. Practice controlling how you react to situations. Try not to react, but to respond.
Being mindful.
Being
mindful of how you respond. And control yourself. Self-control.
And
knowledge of self.
It is. And so know that whenever you see a movie, every movie that has ever come out, it was always about us and what happens inside of the human mind, the body, and the soul, and being an extension of source. That's all those stories all are.
Especially those science fiction movies.
Yeah.
They always dropping some esoteric info in it.
And this is gonna be a crazy journey. But know that watching that on a movie screen, it would be nice for my fists to have photon laser beams. That would be great. But however, let's not minimize the unseen. What else can my hands do that's just as powerful?
That's right.
What about to pick my child up and comfort them when they're hurting? What about to use my hands, to help someone? That's the same amount of power, and you have the same amount of impact of what she was doing in the movie, just with an act of kindness, with an act of love. another huge thing is that there came a point where she was falling. She didn't know she could fly. And it was only until she was in a situation that she was about to lose her life
She
as a
went
result.
deep within.
And she went deep, closed her eyes, went into deep meditation, and harnessed something from within herself that was already inside of her, in the core of her, learned how to use it to master the ability to fly.
And it just activated.
And I said, see, that's the stillness.
Mm-hmm.
And with the frequencies and the 5G and everything, what it does, it keeps you busy. It keeps you feeling busy, and I gotta stay busy, and I can't be still. And even when you're still, you're watching TV, or you're still, and you're eating something, and you're still, and so you never really just sitting still.
Exactly.
Being still and knowing that you are God.
Mm-hmm.
We used to read the scriptures, say, be still and know that I am God. Well, be still. When I be still, in my mind now I must say and know that I am God.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that each of us have the ability to create something beautiful.
That's right.
That's the being a God thing. It's not an arrogant thing, a prideful thing, like a lot of people think. It's not about that.
Right.
It's about responsibility, accountability,
Exactly.
and being mindful of the way you impact the world around you.
That's exactly right. We I'm gonna say this too, just to add to what she was saying. We were just having a conversation as far as when you know that you're a God, you embody a source the way that we all do. You practicing mindfulness, you will be mindful as to what you put in your body as a god or a goddess. You won't put garbage or anything foreign that can have an effect on your physical body. You won't. Those things that affect us physically have spiritual effects as well.
Yeah.
And so that's a part of practicing being mindful. And so again, it's a lot. It's a lot. But this is the journey that we on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so we got this. We got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. You
Just
got
stick
this.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't appreciate the hard times.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes, your first initial reaction is going to be something negative.
Mm-hmm.
But you can draw it back in, and you can harness that energy and be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Man, I feel like the world is just about to end. I was like, the world just crashed down on me, and there ain't even nobody I can call for help. It's a lonely place, and that's a low place.
Yep.
But when you get in that place, you can learn that you can fly. Abilities you didn't know you had all of a sudden.
Be unlocked.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's an old ancient teaching, and they talk about how the sensei or the master would hold the one that he's training head under the water, and right before he feel like he's about to die and take his last breath, pull his head out. And the purpose of doing that is to cause you to go so deep within yourself that you figure out what means what to you and how much, and what you are truly passionate about in your purpose and what you're capable of doing. And until you are challenged, you don't know.
That's right.
I didn't know how fast I could run until a Rottweiler got after my ass one day. And I went and tried out for track, like literally that summer, because I was like, God damn, I can run. I didn't know. When that Rottweiler got behind my ass, I learned a new ability. And so that's just a funny old story that I had to give an example of what I'm saying. And so that's going to be so hard, but know that we're holding virtual hands with you.
Yep.
Know that the mind is all, the mind is everything, that all is one, all things are working together for the good of those who vibrate love and are trying to figure out the purpose they were called according to.
That's exactly
And it
right.
does not fit into the program. The program is breaking. The veil is breaking. So whatever you're doing and going through day by day, if you take the things that we've given you in this video, you will find yourself this time next year being better than you were the year before. That is a guarantee.
Indeed.
And we're going to get there together. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's beautiful. So we hope this touched you all. And yeah, I'm going to make myself stay up, and I'm going to make him stay woke, and we're going to upload this video tonight.
Tonight. Yeah.
Let's press our own threshold.
That's
and
right.
get this video up tonight.
That's right.
All right, y'all.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Love y'all.